What are you doing in my swamp?
Hello everybody, this is Ogre Boy, and I'm going to be doing my review for the 2009 movie Fast and Furious. This is the fourth movie in the Fast and Furious franchise, and in this movie, Brian O'Connor is a FBI agent, and he ends up having to team up with Dominique Toretto to avenge the murder of Letty and apprehend the drug lord Arturo Braga and bring him in. So this is one of the more underrated movies in the franchise. I actually really enjoy this one quite a bit. I know a lot of people don't, and I can get it, I guess. I mean, it's definitely not one of the very best, but I do feel like it's underappreciated. It's a pretty good follow-up to the first movie. This was more of a direct sequel to the first one than the other two movies were. And the cast in here are once again great. They work well together and stuff. It does kind of have that somber tone and stuff because of it being set after Letty's supposed death and stuff, and the characters are kind of depressed throughout the whole thing, and there's still a lot of tension and stuff between Brian and Dom and stuff because of the events of the first movie. But we get to see them kind of reform their friendship, and Dom and him start becoming good friends, and it leads later into how their friendship develops more into this series. And Mia and Brian kind of rekindle their relationship, and that was kind of cool too. Although I did kind of feel like Jordana Brewster kind of phoned in her performance in this movie. Like this one, she just was not near as good as she was in some of the other ones and everything, but she's fine in here. And we also get to see Han in here in a brief cameo at the beginning, showing that he was part of Dom's team and stuff when he was in the Dominican Republic and everything. So I thought that was kind of a cool way to tie that in, where and everything. And we also get to meet Gal Gadot's character Giselle, and I think she's pretty good in this movie. I mean, this was one of her first movies, if not her first movie, and everything. And I'd never seen her in anything before until I saw this movie, and I'm pretty sure this was her very first movie. I think she was pretty good in it. Her acting has come a long way since then, but she was still pretty good in here. And I thought they were going to make her be the new love interest for Dom and everything, but things kind of take a turn as the series progresses, if I remember right. But I know a lot of people will say this movie is pointless and stuff because most of it involves them trying to get revenge on Letty's death, and we find out in the next movie, or yeah, I think it's the fifth movie, we find out that Letty's alive and stuff, and then she has a huge part in the sixth movie. So it is kind of pointless to an extent, but at the same time, I think that it was good. I don't remember how she survived and stuff, because like I said, I've seen these movies once, so I'm looking forward to revisiting them and find out how she survived again, because I don't really remember at all. But I think that even though she's not dead and stuff, and the audience thinks she is throughout this whole movie, it does kind of pack a punch a little bit. It does kind of have a little bit of an emotional stuff to it, although it's not like super emotional. I mean, Vin Diesel isn't really the type to make you feel emotional and stuff, but at least in this early in the franchise, he kind of does a little bit in other movies, but this one, his acting is better in this one than it was in the first one, I guess, but he still has had a long way to go. And this has some really good scenes and stuff, like the opening scene and stuff when they're trying to hijack the truck and everything. That's really great scene. and everything. I absolutely love that opening and everything. It's one of my favorite openings in the franchise, and the big final stuff at the end was pretty good too. I really enjoyed the ending and seeing the stuff where they're like going through this cave and stuff and everything. It's really cool scene. It did have some really bad CGI though that hasn't aged well. It probably wouldn't have even looked good back when it first came out, to be honest. And there were some other moments in here that I really like. The race between Dom and Brian and the other guys and stuff, the street racing thing that they did, because they had to have that in there because that's one of the things people come to see these movies for, and that was a really fun scene. And there was some other really great moments in this movie and stuff, and just getting to see these characters rebuild their relationships and stuff after the events of the first movie. It works really well, and I think this is a pretty good movie. It's not the best in the franchise, and it probably would be in the lower part of my ranking, but I definitely enjoy it more than most people do. I think it's a lot better than most people say it is, and it's a lot better than I remembered it to be. So I'd say I'd give Fast and Furious a 7.5 out of 10. It's definitely not as good as the first one, for sure, but I know I at least like it more than Tokyo Drift, and maybe more than Too Fast, Too Furious. I don't really know 100% yet, and everything. I'm kind of debating on that, but anyway, let me know in the comments what you think of this movie, and do you think it's the worst in the franchise? Do you think it's one of the best? Do you think it's just mediocre and maybe somewhere in the middle? Let me know in the comments what you think, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and have a good day, everybody.